to the Chwang Vibes, your leisurely small talks with Tiffany Wong and Henry Chang. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and even our new, well, not so new YouTube channel called Chwang Vibes, where we have ourselves recorded along with the audio. So, as you guys know, check them all out, as well as check out our Instagram at Chwang Vibes and our personals at Henry Chang 314 and at Tiff_Beck, Beck as in Baekhyun. But today, drum roll please, we have a very special guest whose initials are CC, name starts with Chris and ends with Chang. Woo! Welcome, Chris. Yeah.
What an intro.
I know, right?
You said his name like a Korean name, but his last name is Chang instead of Chang.
Okay, so he's now Korean.
Oh.
So don't try me. Today, Chris, we're going to be learning all about you. You know, where you're from, who you've kissed, your mother, your father. But before we get into that...
Are you really interested in that?
No, not really. Before we get into that, Chris, we would love a 1-minute elevator pitch about yourself. But there's going to be a little bit of a twist. We're going to need you to say it all in Chinese.
我不要.
No, you're going to have to say it all in Chinese. So Chris himself is a Chinese minor.
Yeah, I heard.
And
It's not good.
As you'll see later with our topic today, this is associated with it. It's almost like a lead-in. And so I'm going to throw you an alley-oop, and you're going to dunk it with that self-introduction.
I'm like more nervous for this than like a test.
Yeah, you should be. Let's just say if I send this to your parents,
They won't understand either.
That's true. Yeah, there's no one to be disappointed. So don't worry. Yeah, give us a very brief. It can be very simple Chinese introduction, and then please translate
And then we will
it.
do it in Korean.
I'll do it in English. All right, whenever you're ready.
大家好，我叫张家宝.
His Chinese name is Zhang Zhaobao.
Nice.
Anyways, sorry, I didn't know that.
我是纽约人，是美籍华人。我学计算机，还有中文。
What are you studying?
He just said that.
I just heard his age.
No, he said.
计算机.
He said.
Qishuanqi is his major?
He said he is computer.
Oh, that's what he was saying?
Yeah, he said he's computer and Chinese.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
What else?
Tried
is
really
there?
hard. That's it.
Are you
That is
tall?
actually how I speak Korean. You know, I start with I am
I know.
for every
Yeah.
sentence.
Yeah.
It's like
So-
LC111.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you want to give a quick translation for our fans who don't actually speak?
I'm family treasure Chang. I'm Chris Chang. I'm from New York, except from like upstate New York, so not the city. I'm a computer science major and a Chinese minor.
It's beautiful.
I didn't know how to say major and minor, so I just said I study it.
Oh, actually, you're a senior in CS.
Yeah.
So is my roommate.
Ooh.
That's great. No one cares.
But she made these games for us, and
Oh,
you
that
said no
roommate?
one.
I'm so sorry.
So
sorry.
rude.
So sorry. Tiffany had another roommate that moved out, and
Oh, you thought that was the
it's a
roommate?
really weird story. I don't know if we should tell it on air.
Well, we've told it somewhat before.
Have we?
Yeah,
I
we
don't
have.
remember. Okay, well that's cool. So that self-introduction will actually not be leading straight into our topic, as we have something right in between. Right? This is Tiffany's and Chris's first time meeting each other. Right? And even though it seems very natural, it's because they're both very extroverted. Wow. And to kind of get a better grasp of who we are, because you know me and you know me, but you guys don't know each other very well. We've
Do I
prepared.
know you?
That's a great question. We've prepared an icebreaker game. So the game is very simple. We have 3 words. Can you please hold it up, the 3 pieces of paper? We have 3 words. Of these words, 2 of them are the same and 1 of them is different. Okay? The 2 that's same, basically you're gonna act out your word.
What?
So, if you get the different word, you're gonna, like see what the other people are saying, and then like
Yes.
try to guess the word.
So for example,
Okay.
if the 2 of you guys have apple and 1 of you has orange, then you'll be like, oh, it's very sweet, right? Or it's red. And then the person who is not the same as the others is going to try to eventually have to guess what the word is, as well as not get caught.
So after 1 round, we're gonna vote.
Yeah. we'll do that. So basically, it's Among Us, but in word formation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
that sounds really good.
I'm
So
gonna hand out the cards right now.
Why do I feel like you know what these cards? No, just kidding. All right, you're not gonna hand
You
them
should
out?
hand them out.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll
okay,
take this
cool.
one. All right, so we're gonna read the card very carefully. Okay. So this is all of our first times reading this. We actually had Tiffany's roommate write these words.
Mhm.
Thank you again, Tiffany's roommate.
Yeah.
Very appreciated.
I'll start. It's a person.
Okay. I'll go next. It's an occupation.
That was mine. A famous movie character is this.
I can't vote. Can you?
Yeah, I'm voting you. Are you kidding me?
What?
I know exactly what he's talking about.
Well, I'm not trying to be that obvious.
Oh, okay. How about you say another word? How about we do a couple
Okay,
go
second
rounds?
round.
Yeah.
It's been in the news very often recently.
Okay. Can we just vote? Okay, wait, hold on. Let's give her two more, because I'm gonna say something, and then you'll say something, and then she can guess. Because, okay, I'm gonna be honest, we know exactly who it is now. But that being said, we're gonna still give her a chance to guess what the word that we have is. Okay.
Okay.
So, I think a good word for mine is there was a Netflix TV show about me that was really popular, and I was played by a British guy.
It's a lot of words.
I think that's a pretty good hint.
Stereotypically, I have a very specific outfit.
Yeah. Okay, so, Tiff, as you have been caught in the first 5 seconds.
A person.
Yeah, a person. Well, I mean, she wasn't wrong, actually.
It is a person.
Yours may be a person.
Okay.
Ours could be a penguin.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you? Okay.
I have police.
Okay, and so what do you think we have?
I don't know. I was thinking Bridgerton when you said like it's like a Netflix show and then a British guy played it.
What show was it?
Bridgerton.
Bridgerton?
It's like a new popular show.
Yeah, it's a new romance show. That's
Okay.
really popular.
I was gonna say snow. This is a good try. But what do you think our word is?
I don't know.
Ingwen. 영어로. English. Just say a word.
Oh, the
Like, just get
the
the word.
crown.
It's just. We got detective.
Firefighter.
We had detective. I was trying to point at Sherlock Holmes.
It is a person.
Yeah, but I mean,
Detective can be a person.
yeah. That's why. But the thing is that when he said his, I knew what he was saying.
Chinatown.
No, he said what was your first one?
Famous movie character.
Yeah,
Sherlock
Holmes.
Yeah.
So I knew exactly what he's doing. All right,
Well,
we got another round.
For the second round, I'm handing this out.
Thank you.
All right. So yeah, that's a good point. If you don't actually know if your word is the same word as everyone else, so you kind of have to be a little.
Sneaky.
Okay, you go first.
My daily life.
Steve.
A necessity.
Yeah. Wait, that was like the same as me.
No.
Jobs.
That's the same as this.
What? No, it isn't. I was just talking about, work, and jobs, and such.
Oh, so it's you then.
What?
Jobs.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you have?
I'm not good at this game. Turtlenecks.
Bright.
Bright.
Mm-hmm.
Can we guess
Can we guess like who
who it is?
You think it's me again?
I got no idea who it is. I have no clue.
I'm gonna say it's him.
I think it might be me, but I got no idea.
How closely related are these words?
Like, I feel like I understand
It's
what
really
you're
close.
saying. But what was your second one?
Turtlenecks.
Like, I can kind of get it. But then she said bright. I really don't understand that.
Okay.
So what's your word?
Laptop.
Oh, it is him. Oh my god.
What do you have?
Desktop computer.
Okay, that's the same thing.
No.
Bro, these words are so close.
Yeah, well, like, I can see how turtleneck can be with laptops as well. Like, I was just like, oh, you know.
You made my.
Anyways, we got one more round. Before we go into our quick break and then into our
Thank you.
interview. Alrighty. What if I can't read English?
I'm gonna start. I'm looking forward to this.
I'm hungry.
Oh shoot, these words are so similar. Big.
Big?
I say him. It's Henry.
Well, I'm confused. How does...
I'm being.
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
I also know what she's talking about. I'm just being nuanced.
I don't get it.
Well, let's just go on.
Okay.
I have dinner.
It's you.
I have lunch.
I knew it was gonna be
When you
lunch.
said I know exactly what the word was instantly. So I said I'm hungry.
Then I threw you off.
Yeah, I was like, big?
Dinner's big.
Big
Okay.
dinner? Anyways, I think it was actually a pretty fun game.
Mhm.
But before we get into the interview, we're gonna do a quick touch-up break with the makeup, for the lights, the cameras,
Sip of
the
drink.
action. So we'll catch you guys in literally half a second. Welcome back, guys. I know it was literally half a second for you, but for us it was like, what,
3 seconds.
3 hours, 4 hours? It's another day, a new life, a new change
Same
experience. Yeah, we're disgusting like that. So as I was telling Tiffany a little bit about you because she wanted to know some background information, and one of the things that I actually felt like I didn't really understand until I basically wrote a summary about you was kind of our topic for today, and it's something I wanted to ask you about. But for basically the topic is the importance of an individual's cultural identity. Right, that's obviously different for all of us.
Mhm.
But Chris, you're from upstate New York, right? And I know your neighborhood's extremely how do I say this?
Homogeneous.
Yeah, homogeneous, of the same color, of not yellow,
Yeah.
not black. So you can find the other color.
So not our shirts.
Yes, but possibly my pants. He lived in a very white neighborhood, right? And for 18 years, you didn't really get to experience a lot of your Chinese background and heritage. And in your sophomore year, you actually got to study abroad in China. And you talk a lot about it, about how it was a great experience, and it was definitely one of your highlights of your life, right? And so it actually got me really interested in studying abroad. But anyways, I also talked about when I was summarizing you how you're almost like the Daga for our entire group. Daga is like big brother, 형님, you know. He always takes care of everybody, right? He's e-board of CSA, a very large participant. He's always on meetings with them and hanging out with them. He's a CS major, right? But
So smart.
yeah,
No.
maybe it's, who knows? He might pursue it later on. He probably won't. I think this podcast is a good way to kind of sort a few things out in life. You know what I'm saying? But the commonality I found was the Chinese heritage thing, right? And so we have a couple of, I guess, talking points in terms of things we kind of want to, from your perspective, get a better understanding for the viewers as well as for us.
Yeah. So basically, I wrote other questions.
Okay.
Okay. After I verbalize them, you type them with your little hands. But sure.
Well, I just really wanted to know more about you because I know nothing of your background. So I was wondering, where in China are your parents from, and have you ever been to that place?
So my parents are from New York City.
So they've never
Same.
been in China before.
I don't think my dad's ever been to China. My mom's been to Hong Kong. I don't know if she's been anywhere else.
So your grandparents are from China?
Some of them.
So are you a third generation?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say that.
Same. So actually, it's a really interesting topic, right? Because what do we even consider you at this point?
I'm not a generation.
You're just like a 1.5. We'll basically say you're first generation.
Okay.
Your whole family's in China.
Mm-hmm.
You're in America. But we're third generation, right? So our backgrounds are super different compared to yours, right? And so some of the things that I feel personally as being third generation Korean is things I've never felt before in high school that I felt in college. So for example, there's a lot of like almost almost discrimination, I feel like.
From?
Almost from both sides.
Oh.
So from American-born Chinese towards Chinese students, and from Chinese students, international, to American-born Chinese, like stigmatizations per se, not discriminations, right? And so I kind of wanted to figure out like your opinions on what you thought about being a ABC at BU, right? And if you felt these sort of things, and what sort of like actions did you take to make yourself feel like you weren't, like, did you feel like you changed because of it and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I came to college and CAS makes you take a language. So I couldn't speak Chinese coming into college, and I really wanted to learn. So I took Chinese, and it was the only class I like really liked first semester. So I kind of looked into studying abroad because CS was not it. I was already very tired of it.
I have heard one positive thing about CS.
I have to say, when I took CS 111, my brain just like blew up.
Yeah, my brain never recovered.
And you're a senior in CS right now.
Yeah.
So what happened?
We can talk about that a bit.
Yeah,
I'd love
but-
to hear his previous story.
Yeah, but so I remember all like international students would call me like whitewashed, and that was interesting because like
Isn't that mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's like when I hear this sort of things, right? Like, oh, that's so white. Like, even though it's not an insult, like if you just read the words for what they mean, it's not an insult. Obviously, being white isn't an insult. But for a lot of Asians, it just means, oh, you're not familiar with your heritage. You kind of forgot about your Chinese roots, your Korean roots.
Yeah, especially coming from like where I was from, Saratoga Springs, and being that token Asian.
Oh, I went there for rafting.
So you know how white it is.
He just has a fun fact for everything.
But yeah, so being like the token Asian, I'm like the gatekeeper of Asian things. Like I'm supposed to know everything to all these like white kids.
Yeah.
Then I come to college and apparently I know nothing about being Chinese or Asian. So I kind of had to like catch myself up, which was kind of what I've been doing the past few years, studying in China, taking a lot of interesting Chinese classes, like reading old Chinese texts and stuff like that. So, but
Something
it's
I
no,
don't
it's
do.
in English though. It's in English. But yeah, so it's been a lot of like catching myself up and just kind of finding an identity, because I didn't have the white identity, I didn't have the Asian identity. I'm not even white, but
No, absolutely. I completely understand like everything you're saying. I feel like to a lesser extent because where I'm from, there are a lot of actually Chinese students, but there are no Korean students at all, right? And I feel like I only have Chinese friends, like very, very few Korean friends. And so
When you first came to BU?
not just in BU in general, like
in California.
Yeah, in California, in BU, like very few. So I feel like that was a big part that I missed, and I think because you're going, I don't know about you, right? But in my hometown, it's hard to change yourself because you've lived with those guys for so long. For me, I went to elementary school with them, middle school, all the way up to high school, right?
Aww.
Okay, man. Why? I don't know about for you, but it probably is similar, and it's hard to have like a change in identity. Like you're saying, you know what? I'm gonna be more Asian today than I was yesterday. Like obviously that's weird, but
yeah.
But yeah. So I guess a follow-up question is, you talked a little bit about the things that were said to you, right? And then you talked a little bit about the things that you did to try and fix almost like rebuild your identity to get a better understanding. Do you think it worked?
Yeah, I went back home like after China, and everyone was like, "Wait, why are you so Chinese now?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's weird."
Define that.
I don't even know. I mean, because I started speaking Chinese like a little bit more in China, they would say something, and I'd be like, "Shema," and then they'd be like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, what?"
Yeah, exactly. Like when I first came to the U.S., my mom visited after 3 months, and then she said that I actually asked her in English what time it is when I first woke up, and I don't even remember.
Yo, mom.
Yeah.
Yo, mom. What time is it? Like, what happened to my daughter?
So it seems to me that it's not like a point where you just decided you want to connect with like your heritage more, but because like people have this impression of you being more Chinese than you actually are, and that's what like inspired you almost to feel that.
Yeah, like I felt like a fake Chinese kid because like everyone back home thinks I'm really Chinese. Everyone here thinks I'm
So it's
not.
really about how people see you. Would you
Yeah,
say
it doesn't
that?
sound great. But
Yeah.
Where do you think those sort of prejudices came from?
I mean, like when you're upstate, you're not seeing other Asian people, so you can't form your own opinions about like Asians.
No, absolutely, yeah.
There's only one, that's me, and then everything else is from TV, which historically isn't great at portraying people.
Yeah.
So-
I meant more like, where do you think the prejudices came from other students onto you? Like, other students onto APCs?
Probably because like I feel like a lot of people in the beginning of college like group towards people they're similar to, and if they think I'm gonna be like them and then I'm not, it's like a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like me being with my group of friends who are like just into the US before. Like I've been here for high school, but many of them haven't. And they would like if they see a group of like Asian students, and they would be like, "Oh, that's the APC that live like next door."
Yeah.
And I didn't really see a problem with that because I feel like APC is a really like the middle ground. Like I even feel like I'm in between like Chinese and American already, and I can imagine how much more it must be for like you guys. You guys can't really say that like you are Chinese like the way we say
No,
it.
absolutely. Well, first of all, I'm not Chinese at all. I'm Korean. Okay, I'm Korean American. There you go.
Yeah, but I don't see a problem with that because like you can stick to your friend group. And at first I was like, why do ABCs want to fit in with like students from like China who just came to the US? Because I got this impression that ABCs don't really like to hang out with students who like are just into the US because you know they're really different. And then I thought about myself and how I tried to fit into the American culture and like tried to make a lot of American friends. And I see how, you know, people from like different cultures are always trying to reach out to the other culture.
Yeah.
And on the other side, people from the other side are trying to reach toward the other side.
I think it's a big fat miscommunication because personally, when I hear the word ABC, there's a negative connotation with that word. Usually, like, they say it in a way that's not meant to be like, oh, you're an ABC, that's sick. You know, like, I've only heard at restaurants, oh, you're an ABC.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you
Waiters
go
will ask.
Yeah.
I've had that
That's
happen.
and that they'll treat you differently because of it, right?
It's not gonna be that they're gonna treat you better if you are like more Chinese.
Well, funnily enough, they do.
I have heard that.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. This has happened back all the way in California, even to here, right? They'll be like, oh, are you born in America? They'll ask you in Chinese. And you may respond in Chinese. But if you say yes, they won't be as open to you, right? They don't care as much. They'll kind of like let you, you're not the top priority anymore. But if you are from China, all of a sudden they're much more warmer towards you. It's just because there's a level of familiarity.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think that's prejudice though, or discrimination.
It definitely is, to an extent. It's like saying from a white guy to a black guy, treating him differently because of his different
Familiarity.
background. Exactly. It's not, once again, it's all implicit.
It's just like more subtle.
And it's not a big of a deal, right? But you definitely notice it, right?
And even if it's not true, I've had like white friends be like, you order because you have a Chinese last name, so they'll make it better. And I'm like, I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
But
That's a joke white people like to
Yeah,
make, to be
I think that's a
honest.
bit
I've
of
had people like really believe it.
Yeah,
It's a
those
little
are
weird.
the strange ones. But I mean, all lies have an essence of truth, right? That's the saying. And so I do believe there is an essence of truth in that statement. And when your friend says, "Oh, there's ABCs living next door," right? He may mean it in the nicest way possible.
Mhm.
But when someone who hears that, they're like, "Oh, why didn't he just say, oh, there's those guys living next door," you know? It's like putting a label. Oh, there's those black guys living next
Now
door.
you're saying it, I think I see it more. Because especially my friends' roommates next door are, always like poking fun at them whenever they pass. So I think their relationship isn't that good.
Yeah.
So whenever he says it, he's like, oh, those ABC.
And it's a lot of it's because they almost feel like because you're American, you have betrayed your heritage. You didn't understand where you're from, right? Funnily enough, 100 years ago, this would have been a completely different ideology. People would have been like, oh my God, he's an American? Wow, he must be so well off. His family must be amazing. Like, it's all changed during history, right? But I think now, because Asian countries have gotten such a
More
boost
powerful.
boost in popularity over the last modern 20 years, right? It's almost flipped, right? I don't know if you've noticed this, but that's definitely something that I've kind of seen. Like now Americans wish they're Korean or they're Chinese, right? Rather than the other way around, which is really interesting, right? So anyways, back to you, right? Because this whole thing's about you.
Oh.
Yeah, I talked a lot about my personal experiences, and I'm not even Chinese. But did you have any opinions or thoughts on, kind of like this has happened, or I know people that this has happened to? And do you think, A, there is a negative connotation being ABC, and B, why do you think there's a negative connotation, if so?
And what would you like to see change?
Oh yeah, or how do you think it could change?
Well, because I was so new to like being around Chinese people, I kind of latched on to ABC. Like, I saw it as like special and different because I don't know, it's
That's interesting.
something that others weren't.
Yeah.
So I didn't see it as negative. It's just like another thing to identify myself with, labels. Again, not the greatest thing, but I don't know. The separation isn't great, but I feel like there's less separation than before.
Yeah. And so, hopefully, over the next couple of years, Chris and I can help bond and kind of shorten that separation between cultures.
You want to do
I'm
that?
just kidding. I'm not doing that. That sounds like way too much work. But yeah. Anyways, you kind of actually talked about this, but I kind of wanted to get a better grasp of what you were saying for the listener. You talked about your multinational identity, right? Your slightly white side from Saratoga Springs, and then your more Chinese side from BU, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's a reason why you had to change? Like, one thing that I was shocked by is, coming to college, you almost feel like you should be welcomed, included, but when you have to change for others, right? It doesn't really sound like that. So, do you have any? I just want to hear your thoughts on that.
I find myself like switching a lot too. When I go back home, I'm no longer surrounded by Chinese people, so I'll be playing like disc golf with them and like fishing and hiking, which I guess people like view as like more white sports and activities. And then at college, I'm usually around more Asian people, so always going to Asian food, which is awesome because there's no Asian food where I'm from.
Yeah.
Like everyone wants to go get hot pot or like KBBQ and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Interesting that we were going to an Italian restaurant after that.
Yeah. Which one of us is Italian again? That's right. None of us. That's gonna be great. Though Italian food is amazing. So, you talked a lot about. Oh, okay, just break everything. It's totally fine. Just kidding. So we talked a lot about the stigmatizations that come from both sides. Do you feel like you have any towards? Do you feel like ABCs have any predisposed feelings towards international students before they meet them? Because I think before I came to college, I knew very few international students. Right? So I don't know if you felt a certain way.
Yeah, I think coming into college, it was like the international students like grouped together and they don't want to interact with anyone else. I felt like that was the consensus among ABCs and just like other people, which isn't always true. And
you're an extroverted guy.
Yeah.
Right? So you try to get to know as many people as you can, right? So did you feel like you were successful?
Yeah, you just talk to them. They're like other people.
Yeah.
It works out.
Offering my side of the opinion. Well, I think it really can seem like Chinese like friend groups are not welcoming like foreigners. But
I've definitely noticed that.
but I think there are two reasons. First, I wasn't like that in high school, but then I couldn't really fit into those white student groups, so I just went back to my Chinese student groups, and it's not like I.
So what am I?
It's not like I chose to, like exclude anyone else. I think I got the feeling that the white students don't want us when I was in high school. So when I come to college, I didn't even try. Like I made a few friends out of my ethnicity, but just a few. And I think language is a huge barrier too, because you speak English and white students speak English, black students speak English. So it's like easier for them to merge with each other into like one friend group. But for Chinese, it just feels really weird to speak English when you know the other person's first language is also Chinese. So I think that language is a huge barrier.
Actually, I have a question about that. What's the general opinion on native English speakers? So, for example, I never learned Korean in my household, and Chris never learned Chinese in his household, right? So what's the sort of opinion about like not learning your first language?
I mean, I personally have nothing against it.
I know you have nothing against it. Come on, think of something, man. I hate them.
So you
they
want to
smell? They're the worst. Just say something. Lie. No, I'm just kidding. Don't lie. Just a joke.
To be honest, I was shocked when you said that the like waiters and waitresses at Chinese restaurants treat like more authentic Chinese people better, because at least in China, if you are an American, like Chinese American, you can get into top colleges in China by just reciting a poem to them in Chinese, and they're just like
like that type of poem.
they're
Okay.
just. I don't know how to respond.
Roses are red, violets are blue.
Yeah, like that.
I'm sorry, you don't have a thick waifu.
Ooh.
Top college right
That
there.
was really good, right?
Fudan.
Yeah, but I got this impression that at least people in China treat foreigners better than like their own like peers.
So strange.
In China, older people would like lecture me that I couldn't speak Chinese, and they're like, why? They would ask you, why didn't your parents? And I didn't want to be like, well, they didn't know either, because that's just more lecturing. But I found younger people to be like, oh, it doesn't matter, we're the same, and I thought that was really cool.
In China?
Yeah, I was getting my hair cut, and like a 20-something-year-old was like, oh, you're from America, like it's okay, we're the same. And I'm like,
That's sick.
that's so deep.
Yeah, that is sick.
But yeah, old people didn't like me.
Really?
They liked my white friends who knew Chinese.
Well, that's
At the same level
you know,
as me.
They find it so impressive if someone who's not Chinese speaks Chinese. Like, I feel that. And I'm Asian, right? So when I say, oh, 我是韩国人,
Is your girlfriend's mom who's impressed by your like being able to listen to Chinese?
well, I think it's normal now. Because
Okay.
I just do it. But
But she was
when I come
impressed.
up to someone, so let's say I go to a haircut place that's in Chinatown, and I was talking to a guy in English. He's like, "Oh, do you speak Chinese?" I was like, "I do speak Chinese a bit, but I'm Korean, so not my first language, and he was like, wow, your Chinese is so good. Oh my God, how did you learn it? Right? If you're not Chinese and you learn Chinese, all of a sudden you're like up there. If you're Chinese and you don't know Chinese,
They assumed I wasn't Chinese. They'd be like, are you Korean? Are you Thai? I'm like, no, I'm just a sad American Chinese boy. They'd be like, okay, here's your food.
But yeah, you know what's funny is that I felt the opposite in Korea. That the older people were, first of all, they were amazed by me because they were like,
So tall.
So tall.
Like,
Are you Asian?
like, he's so big. And I never talked to anyone my age because no one really knows like English that well for some reason, or even if they do, they never speak it, right?
Oh, when you were in Korea?
I was in Korea, but it sounds like for you it's kind of like the opposite, like more hip, you know. Hey bro, we're the same, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Actually,
exactly.
I kind of want to hear about your study abroad trip, right? Because, you know, as we talked about before, it was a big part of your life. But I was wondering, after the trip, you know, when you got a chance to like look at it all and you had all those crazy moments, but besides the crazy moments, did you feel like you almost were closer to your heritage? In a
Oh yeah, for
sense?
sure. Yeah,
And-
and I was really sad when I was on the plane going back home, because it was 4 months there, and besides like your own little bubble of BU kids, it's all Chinese, so you have to like constantly speak Chinese, constantly like think in Chinese, which is really cool. Like my Chinese got so much better in those 4 months, and quickly dropped right back down. But yeah, no,
I understand you.
I don't. My Chinese is never
Like
good enough.
when I went back to China during summer, I tried to talk to him, but I like couldn't really talk to him.
Oh yeah, it was like a broken English, like 1700s. She was trying to speak in like Mozartian, Beethoven. I didn't understand Ian.
That's not true, but continue.
But yeah, no, it was great. Like food was great, people were generally really nice, and it was just like
Generally.
Did you feel like you were most comfortable with yourself in terms of your own identity when you were there?
Well, I didn't really have to like think about myself because no one's looking at me because I blend in there, which was really
Oh,
interesting.
that's interesting.
I thought that was really cool. But yeah, no, I was just really chill, like really enjoying myself there. Had a good time, studied, ate, food, traveled.
Damn, he's living the life. He's like what's his name? Anthony Bourdain.
Bourdain, yeah.
Oh, rest in peace, by the
Yeah.
way, in like 2016, 2017. But when I was in Korea, I felt like a sore thumb amongst everyone.
Because they're huge.
So not only that, I was really tan. Like I'm kind of dark-ish, not that dark, but I'm still dark in comparison to Korean standards. And then I was running back then. I mean, I was like basically black, you know, compared to every other Korean, as well as the fact that I'm huge. And I have really bad acne, like really bad, right? So I was going through a lot of like self-confidence issues. And so that really accentuated the point that I felt like I was being just stared at. When in reality, it's just because I was like gargantuan. human
Yeah,
being.
probably.
Yeah.
Is there a problem?
Problem with what?
Problem
It's
was,
their problem, she said.
Problem was like not being able to just accept what they're seeing.
No, I had an issue with it. It was really hard for me. After a week, I didn't want to leave my apartment. Basically.
Really?
Yeah, that's why I say it's their problem to make you feel that.
Yeah, I know, but I think after a couple days of just saying I don't care anymore, you know, you start to feel better.
Oh, actually, I can relate to that. When I first, after my first year in America, when I went back to China, I feel like pedestrians were staring at me for no
I
reason.
remember you telling me
Really?
like you would wear dresses that showed your sleeves or shoulders, not your sleeve. They would have been very impressed with the sleeves, but it showed your shoulders, and people were like staring at you, or something like that.
Yeah, my mom was like, you cannot wear a shirt that's like high up your neck. Like you have like every.
High up her neck, it couldn't go higher.
I was like, it's summer. I can show my back. Like, it's not like it's not like something, you know. But like, they've been all staring at me, and I don't feel like I'm wearing something that different. But then that sort of just like died away. Like, if I go back to China now, I don't feel people staring at me anymore. It's fascinating how things changed in just 3 or 4 years.
You think it's because they started to change into what you are? Like,
Yeah.
Nah, that's...
Or maybe it's just because I started to wear, you know, pajamas on street.
Or maybe your eyesight got worse. You just couldn't see that.
Both are true.
Welcome back, guys. It was been 3 weeks now. I've actually, this is my beard
Massage.
throughout. I'm just embarrassing myself now.
Looks
I
pretty
didn't
good.
actually grow anything out. I can't physically.
Do you
grow.
shave every day?
Well, I shave like every 5 days. Like it's really sad. I think I didn't shave for 2-3 months, and it was less than some people's like pinky toes.
That's an image I don't want to imagine.
Anyways, before our break, I was gonna actually ask you. We talked a lot about him, but something that we kind of understand our situations, but we'd love to hear your situation. Someone who kind of is like in this weird situation of, I mean, you definitely are Chinese and you grew up in China, but now for almost a third of your life, you've lived in America, right? I think it's the math. All right, 5 out of
How old are you?
I'm
a
20.
quarter of her life.
That sounds more right.
Yeah, a quarter of her life she's lived in America, and so I'm wondering, like, how do you almost identify yourself now?
I
was just gonna say I don't.
I don't
there
identify
it is.
myself as more American, actually. Like, I feel like at least the city I live in has been more.
What's to do with that?
Beijing.
Oh, I thought you were saying Boston.
No. Oh, right, my hometown.
Yeah.
My home city, at least. It feels like it's really globalized. As I was saying, people were staring at my outfit for no reason, but now they don't because so many other young people are wearing that or something more daring. And
Have you seen on TikTok
The streetwear?
the
Yeah.
Chinese streetwear videos of like those really I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna do some bullying here. The weird individuals that are like wearing like latex and like
It's avant-garde and
duh.
fancy.
and like the music's playing in the background, and then all the people around them are just like, what's wrong with these kids? Like, what are they doing? What's wrong with this generation? But yeah, things have definitely changed, in my opinion.
And I haven't been back to China in a year, so I'm sure things have changed. Or not, because nothing's happening. But I'm going back in May this year, so I'll see how I feel. But I don't feel a problem like fitting back in there. I feel a problem like fitting into the white people's like groups here because
Yeah.
like just as when I was talking to Henry, people are still picking at my English grammar.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
like is my creative writing class, and even if they said like my characters don't
I
work,
had a
like
feeling this was gonna come out
my
today.
my plot don't work, like that's fine. They can pick at my story, but they chose to pick at my grammar, my writing. They're like, your level of English is poor. You're like your familiarity with the language is like inadequate.
Don't get me wrong, the comments they said are very mean and not necessary.
So I think that hurt me a lot more because it just feels like what have I been doing for the past 5 years?
Are they all Byron?
I mean, almost. There's a Korean in there, but
She also said, "You smell."
oh, he was nice.
He
Yeah, with like hair longer than
is
me.
he single? Asking for a friend who's sitting to my right.
Pass on that.
Whenever I try. Yeah, but I can understand. Like, I don't know if it's because, like, it's hard to think of it in a different perspective. Where, like, let's say I was in a Chinese literature class, and I wrote. I don't know how Chinese students react to my Chinese, right? But I'm sure it wouldn't be as mean as the way those students reacted. I don't know if it's just like a bad class or something, but yeah, something for me personally is that ever since I got to college, I actually have a hard time making friends with people that are just strictly American. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like all my friends are Asian. And very few friends are white. I have 0 African American friends, 0 Mexican friends. Which is crazy because back in California, it's really different. But it's like so much harder because once you start talking to people that, from
Yeah, it's like
China-
when you start talking, you can't stop.
Yeah, and then you kind of feel like you inherit some of their beliefs and their ideologies and the way they talk, and then you yourself have an issue talking again with other people. It's really weird. So the same thing when you go back home and you start talking in Chinese and saying "shama," right? I feel that way sometimes too. Not like I'm saying it in "shama," but like the way I think is different. So like some people will just like, I don't know, work ethic is a big thing. I feel like people that are from Asian countries have a much stronger will to work than people from America per se. I think they do a lot less complaining too. And so it's almost like hard to switch your mentality when you're talking to people. I mean, obviously now, because we're in COVID, I really haven't had to change anything because I'm not really talking to anyone. But during my freshman year, I was getting to know people and talk to them. Definitely noticed it when I went back to California. I don't know if you felt
when I went home, like we'd have conversations and it felt like I changed a lot and they stayed the same as like what they were in high school. So I thought that was really interesting how much I had changed in like a short amount of time.
Yeah, it's probably because they don't have that pressure to like find their own identity. You know, I mean, once you kind of have your identity from minute one, it's a little bit on the different side.
But would you say that you enjoy hanging out with like Asian students more than American students now? Or no?
Do you think Asians are better than Americans? That's gonna be our title for this episode.
I'm gonna get canceled.
Chris thinks Chinese are genetically superior.
I didn't say that.
That's gonna be a hit.
Yeah, we're gonna go off. Thousands of views.
Yeah, but what do you actually think?
I don't think I have a preference.
That's
a very neutral answer. Safe.
I smell cap.
Yeah, but that's a perfect place I want to be in, actually.
The smelling cap?
No, like not having a preference, like being able to switch between groups.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Do you feel like actually in college you have more American friends? I feel like you kind of do.
No, I have more friends with American passport.
What?
But like you guys are still Asian. Like I'm not like making friends with black or white.
So that's
students.
true.
Well, it's just because like BU doesn't have any black students really. Not
We
too
have a lot
many
of white
here.
students.
Yeah.
That.
I can count on these two fingers how many black friends I have. It's two. Like,
be crazy if you just went one.
I'm not trying to show that one finger.
Well, I think it's like references on what you experience. Like when you make certain references to white students and they don't get it, and like when they're in their own group, they're having this great conversation about this show or something that you are not interested in. I think that's when it like just breaks it.
You know, my close friend from home that actually goes to Northeastern, she's a year younger than me. She always talks to me about Netflix shows, such as like Grey's Anatomy and Modern Family, and trust me, I know what they are, but
Same.
I've never watched them. Like I'll be like, oh, you should watch K-dramas. I'll be watching Psycho Team and Kensana, and she's like, what is that?
Bro, it's me and my sister. She's like still super white. She goes to a white school in like Rochester, New York.
She's in college too. Oh,
Yeah. She never switched to being more Chinese. So like we have a really weird like dynamic where I'm like more Asian and then she's just very white.
So do you guys talk about different things?
I just don't talk to her much.
We got our new
There goes
Chris
it.
hates his sister is looking for a new one.
We have so many slot lines.
Yeah. Do you feel like after college, when everything is all said and done, do you see yourself ever actually moving to Asia?
Oh, I think it'd be really cool to spend some time in Asia. I don't know how long, because I do like my family as much as you said I hate my sister.
He just said if we cut out what he said,
let's not do
I
that.
hate
Nope,
my
nope.
sister. That's all I heard.
That's going to be in the teaser.
All right. But yeah, no, I mean like a short amount of time. Yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
But but I think like
Sorry
also
about the noise.
I'd like to move to like a more Asian community, like preferably SF. Like that'd be really cool.
We'll gladly take you. But trust me, they're very. If we're talking about ABCs, they're all ABCs.
I mean that's what I am. So
Yeah, that's true.
but yeah, just like a different dynamic, a different culture, to see what I missed out on.
Yeah. I guess similarly for you, do you think you'll, after college is done, stay in America or move back to China?
To be honest, when I was in high school, I thought I'm gonna stay here because you know, I've
She
already
hates her mother.
because I've already tried this hard to, you know, learn all these new things. It's just
That is true. Like English.
yeah, regretful if I just
if
throw
I call
everything
you
away.
in 5 years and you say, where? 就是谁? 你是谁? I'm gonna be like, English. Speak it now.
You sound like my language teacher in high school, but now, especially after Trump, I started to doubt that because like like when Trump was in power, like I just felt like the policies aren't possible.
They're very anti-international
aren't
students.
made possible for me to stay. But also I just feel like even after 5 years, I still don't feel like I can quite blend in like completely. Like I blend in with this place and certain group of people who live here, but not the majority of people. So I don't know if that's gonna change when I go into work, but I just feel like it's been 5 years. I've been trying very hard, but nothing's really changed.
It's really interesting. Okay, I kind of have a last topic. It's a little bit of a spin-off, but I think it's going to be a fun, interesting one. It's about dating. Right?
How do we get here?
Well, so one thing that I've noticed for myself is a lot of people often ask, like, would you ever date this race? Right? Obviously, it's a bit of an interesting question because it's laced with prejudice and discrimination, but it also comes with just being familiar with your own race, right? And I know a lot of people that be like, I can't date anyone outside of like my own race because they wouldn't understand my
I think it's a valid
tendencies,
point.
right? Yeah, and that's it. You know, it's a personal preference. You can't really fault anyone for that. But I kind of hear your guys' opinions on it. I know for you, she's definitely okay with Koreans. But yeah, I just kind of hear what you guys have to say. So you want to start?
No, after you.
Yeah, that's the point. Let's end it with his statements, so we can really throw in the clickbait if he says something stupid, so we can catch him.
Well, I didn't think it would like work out as well before I saw this couple when I was in high school. The husband is a Jew and the wife is Chinese.
Jewish and Chinese.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a combination.
And they seem to enjoy each other so well. And I was like,
Is she from China?
yeah. And his English, I mean her English, like she has accents. It's not like she's super fluent or she's like Chinese American.
Are hot. A British accent.
You should just like duct tape his mouth, and when he's allowed to speak, just.
I'm adding my personal opinion.
I like that recommendation.
What?
Considering it, yeah.
Wait, what?
But my mom actually really wanted me to date white people.
Really?
Just because she likes them better. Because she's so disappointed in Chinese men.
Oh, really? I did not know this.
She thinks that other races. Oh, actually, just white. She does.
I know she disproves against
Yeah,
Koreans.
yeah.
I've heard that, but I did not know about the white thing. That's really interesting.
Because when she came to the U.S., there are a lot of white guys like courting her, and
Courting?
Courting.
Courting.
Sorry, courting her, and she just really liked their personality, like outgoing, and like she's like they enjoy life so much. They're not like those Chinese guys who only think about making money. And,
Damn, that's really interesting. That's kind of crazy, actually.
yeah, but I don't think like I can ever even talk to a white guy.
That should be the clickbait title.
I've never talked to a white human in my life.
No, like
Tiffany Wong.
actually, I get along with white girls, but white guys, it's hard.
Why?
They just don't understand me, and I don't understand them. Yeah.
No one really understands you, I'm gonna be honest here.
Well, I'm so glad that you did so many episodes of talk show with me when you can't understand a
Listen,
thing.
I didn't know your mother felt that way. How am I supposed to understand you if I don't understand the person who gave birth to you?
You will never understand her.
It's so dramatic.
You'll never get her. Never. And Chris, you know, as our last talking point, see something really clickbaity. Like,
I dated a white girl in high school.
well, that we knew that.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, yeah, talk about that. And you dated a Chinese girl in
college, yeah.
and a Korean girl.
Yeah.
in college. Actually, I'd love to hear your difference
Wow.
in perspectives for that.
I mean, well,
He's really popular with girls, by the way, and guys.
what the? But yeah, like I mean, in high school, the only option really was whites. Like, it wasn't like a preference thing. It was just like, you know, a person by person. I don't think I have a preference. But yeah, so I guess it was just whoever I click with at the time. But yeah.
I have a question. Which one is the best?
You guys really want me to like get canceled?
Not these guys. Not you guys. She said that. I merely typed it. Just kidding. I didn't type that. I swear.
No, but it's interesting.
I mean, like, it was definitely like the easiest to connect to the other ABC girl that I dated.
It's the second girl. And do you think it was because, like, just because of who she is, or because she's actually Chinese?
Well, we both came from really white towns. She was an ABC. Didn't really, you know, connect a little more than I did, but with her Chinese culture growing up until later. So.
Really interesting. Damn. And, you know, I know the Korean girl was pretty recent. I know her slightly well. And so her being native Korean, did you feel like there was any cultural differences between you guys?
Nothing really significant. No, she'd been in America for a long time, so I don't think so. Yeah.
Smell some tea, but
I have to sneeze really badly.
Here's the end of our episode. We went on. Hold it back.
I'm trying.
We went on for really long. This is our longest episode,
Yeah.
so it's a good one.
Absolutely beautiful. Well done, Chris. I'll do the intro really quickly, and then we're gonna have you plug everything you ever could in your entire life in the span of 10 seconds. So once again, guys, thank you for listening. This is episode 4 of our season. I apologize, by the way, for missing the last week. I unfortunately cut my mouth, as I said before. I won't do it again. 죄송합니다. So we made this episode a little longer so that you guys, because I know it's midterm season, you guys can always listen to this while you're studying.
Just play this as the background.
Yeah, you'll probably fail after listening to this. Your grades will go down 20%.
That's
not
okay.
not if you're in Asian studies.
Yes, if you're an ABC, you might be powered up. Who knows?
Powered up.
Go Power Rangers. But once again, thank you guys for listening. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube at Chwang Vibes for all of them. Once again, we come out on Saturdays at 12 p.m. You can check out our Instagram at Chwang Vibes, and our personals at Henry Chang 314 and at Tiff_Beck. Becca's in Beck Yun. Christopher, if you would love to plug all your socials, it's time to do so.
Instagram, Chris Chang 11. I don't want you adding me on Snap.
Add him on Snap.
So if you are hiring a software engineer, I will take that position.
Ooh.
We do have a lot of famous people listening. Hi, Elon. It's been a while. Obama. I'm sure you're doing well with Michelle. But yeah, anyways, guys, thank you all so much for listening. Stay safe out there, and have a great rest of your week.